All right, Jay Electronic, I got to cut you off. I got to cut you off because I'm here to talk to my chat. Hello. Welcome to the Atrioc broadcast here on June? It sounds wrong to say it. June 3rd? Can I be honest? This year has gone fast. This year's gone really fast. It does not feel like it's June. This feels, at least it's approaching half over. If it's not half over yet, but it's approaching half over. And that's crazy because it feels like it just started. I'm not kidding. It feels like February. That shit's wild. Let me turn this brightness down a little bit. This light. Thank you. Hello. It's just because you're 30. If that were true, then why is every Zoomer in my chat spamming aware? You know, whenever I mention how fast time is going. If it's just because I was old, what? Do you know what I'm saying? I think it's broader. I think you're turning it into an age thing. And I don't think it is. I think it's the pace of modern life in a way. Which is why I'm proposing the Atrioc what are those people called? What are those people called? What are those people called that don't have the technology? Those people that don't have technology, they sit on Quakers, Amish. On the Atrioc, Amish paradise. Okay? We're all going to live off the grid. We're going to have in-person marketing Mondays at a church, and we're all going to work the land. We're going to farm things. We're going to, it's going to be good. All dead in 3 days. Not a single one of us can work the land. Nobody here can possibly make any real food. We die instantly. No. We will harvest the 7-Eleven gas station food that we go out and buy. But that's the only technology, okay? Only the glizzy spinner at the 7-Eleven. My hungry ass could not be a farmer. You couldn't be a farmer because you'd eat all of the crops. You know, farmers right now can eat their own crops. It's just not it's a small percentage of the overall yield. It's not like farmers have to hold back. Farmers aren't staying hungry. They can eat. They get to eat. It's just they farm a lot more than they can eat. Atrioc ethno state. Well, I said nothing about an ethno state. Everyone is welcome to come to the Atrioc Amish compound, as long as you give your earthly possessions over to whoever's currently running the compound. I guess I'll do it first. I'll volunteer. I'll be the first one to run it, but it's like not a big deal because we're all doing it for the greater good. We're all doing it to build something incredible. So let me turn on the air. Can you take my debt? No, don't give me your fucking debt. That's a personal journey. Okay, your assets, those hold you back. You should give them to me. But your debt is a personal journey of struggle and renewal. So you should hold on to those. Good goddamn, dude. No socks on? First of all, don't sock watch. Second of all, what's wrong with that? Third of all, it's hot as fuck in here. So I'm trying to cool down by letting my grippers run free. Hey, does anyone else sleep like this? This is an honest question. Because I've been told it's weird, but it's not. Do you wear the blanket over your whole body but keep your toesies poking out? No socks, toes out. That's how I sleep. I have a blanket that goes down to my ankles. And it goes up to my neck. And the toes are out. And the head is out. I need to let the piggies breathe. Oink, 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 oink. You know what I'm saying? How do you sleep when you don't let your fucking piggies breathe? That's an honest question. Don't you get swelteringly hot. Don't you just? I feel like if I have my toes in socks, God forbid, or under the blanket, even I start melting. Monsters will get them. You keep your toes under the blanket because you're worried that monsters might snatch your little toesies up. That's pretty fair. I hadn't considered that, but I have a monster-free room because I make Ari check under the bed and the closet every night. Obviously. What's the point of having a wife if you can't get her to check the under the bed and the closet? Because, like, obviously, you know, I'm not, like, I don't believe in toe-eating monsters, but, like, trust but verify, you know? It's like, we didn't believe in, I didn't believe that the earth was round until last week that I saw some evidence. And it's like, wow, I guess it is. I guess it is. So you can't know these things, you know? You want to be safe. You're woke now? No, I saw somebody woke say the earth was flat, and I was like, it's not cool anymore. I saw someone with blue hair say the earth's flat, and I'm like, I guess it's round. I pivoted. It's called the scientific method, liberals. Okay? Look it up. Did this guy really justify the socks off for cooling down, yet his jeans on? I'm sorry, you want me in a fucking Speedo? Don't answer that. Yeah, I wear jeans to walk around my house because I'm streaming. But yeah, I keep the socks off because it's hot in this room. What I'm doing not only makes sense, but you're the crazy one. You're the crazy one. First of all, shorts. It rained today, if you must know, in Los Angeles. It rained today, so the outside was a little chilly, so I wore pants. If you need a full fucking itinerary of how I got to this outfit, that is the reason, okay? My God. It rains in Los Angeles? Rarely, and the city can't handle it. When it does rain, people who are already bad drivers, possibly myself included, get worse, significantly worse. So it's not a good time to be driving around LA in the rain, and you know, half the people have fucking Tesla autopilot on, fucking legs up on the dashboard, falling asleep playing fucking Subway Surfers, and then the rain fucks up the sensors and they fucking crash. So it's just Fox News is right. It's a hellscape, dude. Everything they've told you about Los Angeles is true. I have to go through roving gangs to get to the, I have to fight through roving gangs just to get to the corner store. When I go to the cafe in the morning to read my Financial Times, I have to bring a bandolier of ammo. And it's like, it might as well be a war-torn third world nation. In Florida, people go 60 miles per hour in torrential downpour. That's fucking crazy. I lived in Florida too, by the way. There's not a lot of places in the United States that I haven't been to. Just because I lived in 13 states. We traveled quite a bit. Alaska, no. I'll be honest. Alaska, no. I've been to Minnesota. Humble brag. You could say it's a brag, or you could say it's a fact, and in fact, wasn't that appealing growing up. And in fact, it's not that fun to every year and a half when you're a kid, move. It's not that fun, especially when you're as old as I fucking am. You don't even have social media. So you're just like, hey, you're my best friend in the world. Good to meet you. Oh, I'm gone. I never see you again. It actually is not that fun. It's not that fun. It wasn't that. It's like all right looking back because I got to see some cool experiences, but it wasn't that fun. About to go to Mexico. As a Latino, do you have any advice? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. What you have to do is embody your Latino spirit. That's sort of what I do. Learn the language, okay? Learn the culture. Blend in seamlessly as I do. Me llamo Brandon. Donde está la biblioteca? Ask for the library. Second piece of advice is if you are thirsty, there's nothing better than sweet, sweet, sweet Mexican tap water. Slurp that shit down, dude. It's like the nectar of the gods. It will refresh you. It will cool you. It'll clear your system out. That's number 2. What's number 3? Number 3, and I learned this in Tijuana, you're going to want to walk around with a lot of cash, and you want to flash it. You're going to want to walk around with a lot of cash, and you want people to know you're paid, okay? Make that apparent. Make that, you want to impress people because it's a sign of success. And this just goes for any American. If you're traveling abroad and you don't know the language and you're speaking English to someone and they don't understand, here's like a common phrase you might hear in Mexico. ¿Qué? They'll say ¿qué? When you say something in English. Just respond by saying it in English, but louder. Just because what ¿qué means is I too quiet. Can't understand. So just go bigger and go more animated. So use like your arms and that's, I mean, honestly, listen, there's more rules I could teach you, but if you get those big 3, you're going to be, they will call you, pinche gringo. And that means great friend, honorable friend. So you'll be good. You'll be fucking good. Congratulations on your new Latino heritage. Start every sentence with silence. Locals an American is speaking. It's becoming one of my favorite memes. It's just so funny to imagine. It's just a funny fucking meme. If you don't know, it's this guy. I just like this silence X a Y is speaking it's just it's just putting your hand up. Everybody falls dead silent. This movie's good, by the way. I just want to go to bat for it. Kingdom of Heaven. Why don't they make movies like this anymore? Big, epic, huge budget war films. Why not? It's fun. It sucks. It's woke. No, wrong. He made Napoleon recently. Napoleon sucked ass. It sucked shit, dude. Did Ridley Scott kill the war film epic? It was bad, dude. So did Kingdom of Heaven? No, dude. Here's the trick. This applies to Troy. It applies to Kingdom of Heaven. It applies to all these movies. As long as there is at least one scene where you look out on a really, really big battlefield with walls of men of swords that run at each other, you're good. You've saved the movie. That's all you need. That is the formula. That's 1917. 1917 is a good movie. But what you really want is swords, because every man knows deep down that war got kind of lame once they added guns. Everybody knows that. Every man knows deep down that if they were born 1,000 years earlier, they would have dominated in the battlefield by being a slick swordsman, and then their life would have been really cool. But instead, we live in boring gun, bomb, plane, drone warfare, and we have to sit here and work at fucking Starbucks or whatever because of the way the cruel twist of fate has gone down. So that's why these movies harken back to something inner, primal. I want to watch men with swords run at each other. Okay? That's what I want. I will not be denied. I want to watch Brad Pitt with the most insane abs of all time one shot somebody in Troy, and then I want to think, yeah, I could do that if I worked out. I want to go to the gym and show that to the part-time trainer at 24-Hour Fitness and be like, can I get this physique working out one time a week for 45 minutes? And he has to tell me yes. Okay? That's what I want. And is that a crime? I'm being held back, I think. F1 is exactly that. That's not what F1 is. F1 hogs, and I am calling you hogs now. F1 hogs will tell you anything to get you to watch F1. They will tell you it is an incredible journey of the human spirit, and then you watch it, and it's just cars driving in circles. They will tell you you don't understand the fucking grit and the tenacity and and it's just cars in circles every time. They will tell you there's a deep story. Huge rivalries. And then you'll watch, and it's the same guy winning all year. And he has the best car. Okay? All right? Circles? Yeah, it's not, listen, I understand. It's like F1 gets a pass because NASCAR is so dumb. But if you took NASCAR out of the equation, it's just a misshapen circle. It's still a lap. It's still the same. Do you know what I'm saying? You'll understand when you're older, Lil A? Maybe I will. Or maybe you might. Let's listen. Silence, chatter. A streamer is speaking. Did you see how they talked about NASCAR? Well, no, I didn't see that. If you think about it, basketball is people going around in a rectangle. Are you trying to like twist my words against me? Are you trying to reducto ad absurdum my fucking argument to somehow implicate the great sport of basketball? Besmirch the legacy of the NBA? There's points in basketball. Okay, here's one idea, and I'm just spitballing this. One idea to make F1 better. If you drive someone's car off the track, but keep yours on the track, you get a point. Done. Easy. Add LeBron. Okay, number 2. How about every F1 track, you're all driving one way, LeBron is driving the reverse direction in a monster truck. How fucking sick would that be? So every now and then he's like just coming down the fucking track and you have to swerve around him. That'd be fucking awesome. That'd be fucking thrilling. What if they kill Braun? No one's going to kill my glorious King Braun. So just write that down. Write that down. I can't wait till after the World War III and all electronic media gets destroyed and we're all recovering from the ashes of the global nuclear holocaust. And I start a religion about LeBron James. I can't wait for that. I can't wait to use the pamphlets and posters left over to start a religion to the great LeBron James, and we all praise to his memory in a Fallout-style bunker. On my Amish farm. Well, you don't really need to be Amish at that point. You don't really need to be Amish. Could drones make Quidditch real? This is like a... These are the questions your tech-addicted teens are asking. Do you know what they're doing online? I don't think so. because you really... I mean, if you could have drones hold up the broom while you're on it, I guess. The broom is the key part. Big A missing my sub like he misses his threes. First of all... Bite your fucking tongue, Point Crow, because I drained 2 Back-to-back clutch threes on Sunday, but where was Point Crow? Where was my man Eric, who I was looking to fucking dap me up? They were clutch, dude. They were fucking clutch. By the way, PC, since you're here, I assume you beat Tears of the Kingdom 100%? Can we get a congrats? Can we get a fucking congrats? 6 days, 6 nights, the grind? I respect a good grind set. That's fucking awesome. I watched a good bit, but I didn't see the end. I still want to play that game badly. See you Sunday, but it's on site. I would love to see you there. I would love to see you there. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to like get through my adoring crowd of fans after I drain the clutch 3 again. You know, all the other players will be surrounding me and be like, "How'd you do it?" And you're gonna have to like push your way through. But like, I would love to say hi. Have you gotten any better at basketball, or is this a bit? I will tell you, on God is my witness, I have gotten better at basketball, but I was starting really bad. So I'm not going to pretend to you like I'm able to 1v1 LeBron James. I could do that, but only because I have a strong mental. Like he's better at basketball than me, but I could like out-strategize him. No, unironically, yeah, I'm getting better, but like slowly, but consistently. Like I don't feel like there's many weeks in a row. I don't think I go more than 2 weeks in a row without feeling like I've improved, which is awesome. Even if it's a little bit at a time. 1% every week or two, but that's good. That's awesome, dude. I keep practicing, and that's cool. Slowly than all at once. I think for this, it's just slowly and then forever slowly. In fact, it might be slowly and then even slower because I'm getting all the newbie gains, dude. I'm getting all the newbie gains. Hasn't refined his mid-range? You're right, I haven't. I haven't refined my mid-range. Hey, Big A, I'm working production for the Denver Broncos tomorrow. What do you know about them? Dude, what don't I know about them? First of all, move them chains. Second of all, USA. Third of all, Deflategate and fucking Tom fucking Brady. And 4, fuck the refs. Anything I fucking missed? Anything I fucking missed? I know football, dude. Nothing I don't know about football. Football fair. Excited for Magic? Are you playing, PC? Oh, I gotta announce it on stream. Wait, Pog, and then also Champ. You're on vacation. Oh my God. I didn't know that Point Crow. Did you guys know that Point Crow was a huge flake? Or is that something you're just figuring out now? I just like, Point Crow, cover your ears real quick. I just want to talk to my chat. Did you guys know that Point Crow was like a massive flake? Like he's like fucking, he's like cornflakes without the corn, if that makes any sense. Does that make sense? I personally, I didn't know this. I'll fully admit that like it took me a while to, and now that I've all the evidence is piling up, it is a shocker. I wanted to share this with you guys. And this is that I will be competing in FlyQuest's dual land tournament on June 14th to 15th. And I have been paired in this Pro-Am with Jimmy Wong of Video Game High School and many other things. The legend, he also does, I mean, obviously, game nights, the fucking massive Magic show that does, Commander. Anyway, he, I think is the amateur. I'm the pro. I'm not sure how they didn't specify, but like, obviously I can't be the amateur because I'm incredibly gifted at the game of Magic. So, I'll be carrying him to the top. Did I edit on the hat? No, he did. He sent it to me on Discord. He said I added a hat to match you. Uh, anyway, I use this image, and and we are teaming up, and we're gonna talk a lot of shit because we've been friends for a long time. So we're gonna have a good banter heavy team. And as I mentioned in the post, we are raising money for children's literacy. Is that an ironic choice for a Twitch streamer? Yes. Yes, it is. Is it ironic? It's like fucking Sackler family raising money for opioid relief. It's like, I'm doing my part, but it just feels like the damage is done, you know? Feels like the damage is done. But I am a big fan of Reading Partners. I have looked into it. It is now the charity that I will unequivocally support for the foreseeable future. I'm going to try and I'm still working on like a separate charity stream, but I want to raise good money for them because I've seen the work and it works. And literally it helps kids actually read, which is important. So anyway, I think this will be a lot of fun, and I'm excited to do it. And I really do love Magic. I just don't play it on stream very much. God, I need that. I'm 23. Bro, I think if America really wants to turn itself around literacy wise, it doesn't matter what age you are. The government should hire someone to sit down and read a fun story with you. I don't care if you're 45, dude. Someone should come over, crack open a nice book, maybe Red Rising, maybe Lord of the Rings. You should read it together. I think that shit would fucking turn lives around. I gotta blow my nose. One second. Somebody sent me a really nice message in the Lemonade Stand Discord saying, hey, this may sound like a joke, but I sincerely, deeply appreciate it when you mute your mic when you blow your nose. I am easily triggered by these things, and I have to turn off the VOD immediately if you don't mute. So, oops. No, I'm gonna mute it. Halfway through Red Rising 1, and I have the second book. Good fucking for you, Penguin Soup 48. You enjoying it? I'll be honest with you. The first half of Red Rising 1 made me tear up. It was sad. It was like emotional. It was like it like got me hooked right in the fucking start. Baby? Okay, well. Wow, are you woke as well? Pussy. Okay. You guys, this is toxic masculinity what you're doing right now. Did you know that? Sorry, I'm a bit of like a emotionally intelligent person. And so what you guys are doing is called toxic masculinity, and it's actually kind of blasé, kind of passé. I actually have some literature you should read. I actually have some literature you should read. I heard it from. Listen, I know he's often demonized by the media and by Batman, but the Woker has some really good takes on this. The Woker actually has like. I know that like he's Gotham's greatest threat, but I actually think the Woker is right about what's happening with toxic masculinity. Seriously, it's a threat to all men. Hey, saw on YouTube you saying you want to make an economy of Pokemon video. Are you just bringing this up because fucking Point Crow's here? I would love for you to my goat Wolfie VGC. I'm not collabing with Wolfie VGC. I'm collabing with fucking Point Crow. And here's how YouTubers collab. We both meet in person. We have an idea for something. We go, bro, that would be such a good idea. Let's do it. And then we never do it. That's how YouTubers collab, okay? And it's a delicate dance, and it's a balance, and it's gonna take us many months. Like the Squeaks Chili's collab. The Squeaks Chili's collab will happen when I'm in New York, and I will get to New York. What I'm trying to do, I talked with someone today. I can't say who, but I had a meeting about possibly hiring a producer who can help me do some of the ideas I've been wanting to do, but don't really push forward. And what I'm trying to do is get someone who can help me record Wall Street shit when I'm in New York, instead of just doing a flight for one Chili stream with Squeaks. It's Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom is my producer. He's decided he doesn't want to do politics anymore. He's over it. He wants to be behind the camera instead of in front of it. So, I'm going to give him a shot. What else did I want to say about, okay. I always say, am I allowed to say this? And then I always end up saying it. But unironically, I don't know if it's okay to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. And I just have to caveat it. Okay? So we've been having meetings. We've been having meetings for ad agencies for Lemonade Stand. A lot of these podcast networks are pitching us on how they can get us the best ad deals or whatever for Lemonade Stand. Listen, I want to say up front, in case they ever see this, sincerely, I am quite positive. I'm not just guessing. I'm positive. They're all great people, and this is the song and dance that is required. But my God, dude, the meeting is like 7 people, and all they do is like say about how they're going to deliver incredible brand synergy with programmatic inside-outside fucking simulcasting. It's just buzzwords and podcast jargon, and they go around and they say it, and it's like, we're talking about you getting us a MeUndies ad, right? Just to be clear, this 90-minute meeting we've had, you're just going to go to MeUndies and you're going to get us the ad, and then we're going to read it. I'm just understanding? Well, not so simply. But like, that's what they'll say a million words to say like 2. And it's a lot of people in that room, and I don't know what they're all doing. I don't know. I mean, and by the way, I just want to be clear that I'm not joking or even really exaggerating. The guy today in a business suit on the call with me in this shirt, Aiden disheveled, Doug half asleep, is literally talking about synergy. He's saying synergy multiple times in the meeting. He's saying synergy. That happened today. And there, by the way, no fucking hate. I have no indication in any way this guy's not a great guy, and I'm quite sure he knows what he's doing, and they've built a good business. It's just wild that I want to be like, am I the crazy one here? Brass Chalice, thank you for the 13 months. Don't hate the player? I don't even hate the game. I just think it's funny. Did you not use the same strat your marketing job? I never said synergy at NVIDIA one fucking time in my life, just to be clear. Just to be fucking clear. Just to be fucking crystal. Dude, I never said synergy. Okay? In fact, not to twist my own bop it, dude, but I think I was pretty good in these meetings at not making the presentation boring. That was one of my skills, I think. If I wanted to get money for a project, I could sort of cut through the noise and not say, that's what they all say? Yeah, maybe so. But I got the budget. I had a very good track record at getting the budget, is all I'm saying. Hey, Shrug, no hate. Does the finances not work out with just Patreon? Does the finances not work out with just Patreon? It does. Well, it does. So, I want to tell you, like, we could easily do it on Patreon, but you just add more. We have a team. You know, we have Perry, we have Quack, we have Adish. Everybody gets a percent. They get paid more. There's no reason not to stag, especially if you're doing the podcast for. One thing we did say, though, this is the question I had. So this is the question. Tell me if this is a good question. So I'm in a meeting with all these corporate types, and I've been a corporate type, don't get me wrong. And they're all telling me about synergy, and they're all telling me about brand opportunities, and they're all telling me about whatever. And I go, okay, cool. Listen, we haven't done any ad reads in our podcast, but if we do them, we'd like them to be funny. And I sort of point to Aiden, and I'm like, dude, the Yard does funny ads, and people make ad compilations of the Yard. What would you guys say if you came to us with an ad and we made a good, funny ad people want to hear, but it doesn't hit every talking point, and the brand is mad? Would you back us up and defend us, or would you make us scrap it? And they started getting wishy-washy. They were like, well, you know, really depends on the brand, and you don't know. But that was a real question that I asked, because that's the point. That's one of the benefits of having the Patreon is, like, if you get an ad you don't want to do, you can just say no. You don't have any financial pressure. No one's bills don't get paid if you don't do it. Oh, great. Ha, ha, ha. I heard about you. Lol W. In 70 years, when NVIDIA has made us a utopia, you can claim you're one of the original workers when you just made video game crap. Lol W. Hey, you got me, bro. Dead rights. I'm not 100% confident that NVIDIA will make us all a utopia, but if it happens and I claim credit for it, I'm lying. I'm fucking lying. All I did was help sell graphics cards to gamers at nice prices. At what you could call premium prices. Premium luxury prices is what I would say. At market value. I sold to willing buyers at a fair market price is what I did. Yeah, that's what I did. That's all I did at NVIDIA. And laptops. Honestly, yeah, outside of Frames Win Games, I think one of the bigger things I worked on was selling laptops to college kids that aren't Apple. Big campaign. The thin and light laptop, the Max Q stuff, that was a big one. What does the day-to-day doing marketing in NVIDIA look like? I mean, true hand of God is that, sorry, I'm dying. NVIDIA has like 2 modes. One of them was the greatest, most incredible job you could ever imagine. They pay in astronomically high salaries, like number 2 in America or something. They have a lot of benefits. They have a nice headquarters with, you know, super subsidized lunch, breakfast, dinner. They have a lot of good stuff. And then I would say for 5 months a year, maybe more if it's a launch year, it's like the most stressful, crunchy, overtimey, pressury. That was that two headquarters. The second one wasn't open when I worked there. Just open. That's what I would say. It was like a real feast or famine in terms of having a lot more work. Is what I would say. And to me, it balanced out pretty fair. I thought the job was great. I really liked it. I didn't like San Jose, but I liked the job. Probably not as difficult as being a streamer. A fucking men, dude. Why would I do it? It's like I left I was like, I gotta get out of the army. It's too dangerous, and I joined the Marines. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why did I subject myself to an even harder job? Yeah, it was hard, but it was, I think it was fair. I think Nvidia was a great. If you're interested in a place to work, and if they're ever fucking hiring, give it a shot. I mean, it's that I would never not recommend it. They also didn't do layoffs during COVID, which is pretty incredible. I think Nvidia still hasn't done layoffs. Every tech company's done layoffs. Nvidia still hasn't. Rasputin! What's up, Raz? Can I steal your content today? You got any new videos I can watch? How you feeling about that? Where's your fucking... The best games are kind of bad. I mean, how fire is that video? It looks good. Watch that right now. You don't have anything? All right. Hey, this is Seth. Thank you for the 25 months. Thank you for the 25 months. Isto. Do you guys know? Can I say it? Isto? Do you guys know Isto's getting married? I said it. I don't care. Isto's getting married. I'm going to the wedding in goddamned Canada. I'm going to Canada. Ugh. I was talking to a Spectacor because he doesn't live that far from Isto, and we might go on a hike when I get there. Well, he's asking me like, "Hey, do you want to go on a hike when you visit Canada?" And in my mind, a hike in Canada is like me head to toe in a fur outfit, trudging through the snow with like the tennis shoe things on my, or the tennis rackets on my feet, and that's my image of what a hike in Canada looks like. And he's like, "No, dude, it'll be sunny. It'll be fine. It's summer." So I guess we're going on a fucking hike. If I die in the wilderness, just know that I lived well. Important question. When Canada becomes 50%, are you guys still going to hate on it? As a Canadian ally, I don't do these jokes. Chip Darule. Okay? As a Canadian ally, America, Canada pride. Ooh, raw. Keeping our friendship strong. Okay? I don't do 51st date jokes. Not me. I make fun of them for maple syrup? Sure. For hockey? Sure. For exporting all their celebrities to America? Sure. These are tried and true things that we can rib each other for. I rib them for that. They say, "How do you like having school shootings every 10 minutes?" And we laugh and we laugh and we laugh. Okay? And we shake our hands and we laugh because we're friends. That's friendship. But we don't talk about invading a sovereign nation. Is where I'm at. Did that Ukraine clip go out? Speaking of invading sovereign nations. How's that doing? Let's see. 2 out of 10. Yes. Ukraine should strike a fucking incredible victory over an oppressive larger nation every day. It'd be good for my content. I mean, I don't know. It was just it is escalating, and we'll see what Russia does in response. And it's going to end up being the fucking match for World War III. So I don't want to get too celebratory, but it is nice to have a true win. Like they didn't even kill anybody. I know that happens in war, but they literally just destroyed bombers. Just $7 billion of Russian bombers. Like it literally is just an unequivocal win, perfect executed long-term strategy that like reduces Russia's ability to kill their own people. I don't know. It's like it's a big dub. It's like, and it's innovative, and it was daring, and they were on the, I don't know. I think it's impressive. Why is the camera tilted down so much? The camera doesn't move, bro. It's your eye that moves. It's about perspective. Yo, Big A, long time lurker at worker. You lurk at work from the land down under. You're an Australian guy who watches during work. Okay. Quick question. How come when every government printed money in the 2008 and the years following, the inflation only contained to assets, and recently in the last few years spilling into normal consumer goods? It's an incredible question, and we're far enough into stream that I can answer it. I've explained this through the concept of the tub before, and I'm gonna do it again, just because I think it is a good visual for the average person to see. So you imagine there's a tub, okay? Bathtub. And imagine the water line. The water line is the price level. So wherever the water line is in the tub is where prices are at. Okay? Now imagine that a big drain opened up in the tub at the same time as you turned on a big water spout. Okay? This is the stimulus money, and this is the China trade. This is everyone moving all their manufacturing to China. Now, this is extremely simplified, but this is actually what happened in the post-2008. China joined the WTO in 2000. It was already starting. After 2008, it hit high gear. This made goods cheaper, and this was inflationary, printing the money to bail out banks. Now, what happened, in fact, is this number is bigger, the stimulus, but because it was done via quantitative easing, or QE, which is the government printing money to buy our own debt, very simply, the money gets contained in wealthy people, banks, and assets. And what they do is they park it into stocks, real estate. And so stocks and real estate and those type of things, they saw inflation. Their price level rise. But for goods specifically, it was like this tub. For just consumer everyday goods, they were naturally deflating from technological advancements and offshoring to China. And any inflation that happened was offset. So we've got barely small price rises, maybe 2%. But for assets, the tub was different. The tub overflowed. And that's why since 2008 specifically, we've seen massive spikes in housing, massive spikes in the cost of scarce goods that rich people would buy, like college, massive spikes in stock market values. So I don't know. This is like a really simplified way of getting you to understand like how you could print a bunch of money and not see it affect consumer goods normally. Now in COVID, it's a little bit different because we had supply chain disruptions and we also had direct to consumer stimulus. We had cash in poor people's hands, direct stimulus, which means there's a lot of new printed dollars chasing the same amount of goods. And that causes inflation instantly and immediately in the consumer goods they buy. So, yeah, hope that makes sense. Try to make that simple and concise. following this analogy, it's like you're putting ice cubes in instead of water. It still raises the volume, but it isn't liquid money. It doesn't circulate the economy. Don't try to jump onto my analogy, bro. That's okay. Don't try to glom your way on with your whole ice cube theory. Silence chat. I'm kidding. That's good. That's a good way to put it. That's a good way to put it. Just being a little bit of a goofball. So consumer stimulus is good or bad? Isn't in this case better to contain it to the luxuries, i.e. houses, etc.? I mean, it really depends on where you are in the economy, what part of the stack you fall into, and who's getting punished. What I would say is that some of us believe that almost all of this printing money is bad, regardless of who it's being contained to. Whether it's being thrown out as stimulus or whether it's bailing out a bank, it's all just ruining the currency. That would be my idea. And, it's worth noting that inflation is super beneficial for people who have a lot of debt, and it's super punishing for people that manage their finances well and live within their means. If you're someone who wildly goes into debt and, like, let's say buys 40 Airbnb houses, inflation's great for you. It makes your debts cheaper. If you're somebody who's like, hey, I'm going to live within my means, only buy what I can afford and like save up for what I want in the future, inflation fucks you over hard. So it's like weird that we would do anything that would make the incentive so bad like that. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Since we kind of ruined the dollar, shouldn't we just print our way out of debt and start the dollar 2.0? Not the first country to think of this. What happens in the middle is called total fucking hyperinflationary chaos, where people become deeply, deeply radicalized against ever living a normal life. Usually you get fascism or communism in the middle because of how angry the people become. Just like that. Usually that's the bum 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 bum. Or you get Argentina. Are you saying that as a good thing? Argentina's like a 52% poverty rate. Show us your Zimbabwe dollar. Didn't arrive yet. I might have got scammed, by the way. I didn't arrive yet. I wonder if I got scammed. I wrote a paper about this in college saying we shouldn't have bailed out the banks, and my professor flipped. Yeah, not a very popular line of thought. But, I would agree. Or I would, yeah, I mean, I actually do agree. To be honest, I do agree. But it's also easier to say when you're a kid, or like whenever, like right now, we'd be in a better spot had we allowed more damage to be done, more creative destruction, more banks to fail, more, so we could rebuild from that. But in the moment, nobody wants to happen. But I will say it is insane because the average person still got punished. Regular Americans in 2008, they lost their houses, they lost their jobs, their, suicide went up, depression went up, they had wage stagnation for years, and we just, the CEOs and the bankers were fine, the people who were most responsible for getting us into it did not walk away with a lot of damage. So I don't think the burdens of that recession were borne equally. Oh, speaking of the national debt, I mean, I want to talk about this pretty soon. Maybe in a second. I want to talk about Elon Musk and his fucking strike back against Trump. But we'll get there in a second. We should have arrested the bankers and saved the economy. That wasn't the whole point. Um, yeah, I do think there should have been more um, punishments for sure. There was absolute malfeasance that should have been punished, but I also would have liked less bailouts and more punitive bailouts when they existed. Just because, listen, the core concept here is something called moral hazard, and it's the idea that if daddy always comes out and bails you out, then the smart thing to do is to operate like you have daddy to bail you out. It's not even like you look at a Wall Street bank nowadays taking the most insane risks or giving out the most stupid loans, but like it's not stupid from their POV because they know they'll get bailed out. So when you know the bailout is priced in, you are actually operating with no risk, and which creates a problem for the rest of us. That fucks over the rest of them. So you really have to at some point let somebody fail for the bad decision. Otherwise, they will never. I mean, it is in their best interest to never learn. They'll make more money not learning. You can't just wag your finger at them. You have to. That's just the lesson of it. There has to be some downside. Somebody's got to fucking take an L. Bad bank. Bad bank. But weren't the bailouts paid with interest? This is a common talking point. I'd love to answer it. I'm glad you brought it up. So eventually, after many years, the bailouts were repaid with an interest rate that was lower than what the government could have got investing in its own treasuries or anything else. But aside from the moral hazard argument, here's what really happened. Let's say you, I don't know, you graduate, okay? And you get a job and you're saving some money. And I graduate and I get a job and I'm saving some money. And I take my money and I put it in a diversified portfolio. I have some stocks, I have some bonds, I have some gold, I have some whatever. I'm like, I'm just safely building for the long term. And you take all your money and put it into Dogecoin. You put it into Doge, all into Doge. And then time goes on and Doge is going up and my stuff's going up and Doge is going up a little higher. And you're like, yeah. And you just keep throwing it all into Doge. You keep putting everything you have into Doge. And I tell you, I go, hey man, listen, I'm glad Doge is working, but it's pretty risky, right? You should probably diversify a bit. You don't want it to be all in Doge. And you go, no, Doge, 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 100% Doge. You keep going into Doge all the way up and you're making tons of money. And Doge keeps going up and you're making tons of money. And then there's a big crash in Doge. And Doge goes to fucking zero. Or goes to 0.0001. And you're like, oh, fuck, my whole savings just wiped out. And then the government comes in and they're like, hey, little buddy, don't worry. Don't worry. I know you made a big oopsie, but we'll be making okay. And so we're going to take taxpayer money and we're going to buy so much Dogecoin that your holdings are worth something again. So they buy all this Dogecoin, so the Doge price is back up and you're okay. And then they can sell some of the Doge that has been inflated again and pay their portion back to the government. That is not really, do you know what I'm saying? That's not really mission accomplished. The government has reinflated your asset, your terrible dog shit asset, so that you can pay them back. But what we haven't done is had actual creative destruction on whether the asset is worth anything at all. So, the U.S. government printing money to reinflate our housing market to not find the correct price is not. it's not like we got our money back. Also, it's worth saying when people say like, "Hey, the government's The government got its money back from when it gave money to like AIG or Countrywide or whatever. True, specifically in those cases, they give them a few billion to help bail them out, and then when they're on better feet, they can pay it back. But the government did not get paid back for the billions, hundreds of billions it spent on quantitative easing, where it printed its own money to buy its own treasuries, which inflated the market. That money's not paid back by anyone. So understand that it was still a massive bailout of the entire system, and that because a few banks that thrive when things are inflated were able to pay things back when things were reinflated, doesn't mean that we got our money back. It doesn't mean it was good for the average middle American. Is what I'm trying to circle at here. I don't know if the solution is let the banks fail. Listen, I understand that it's a complicated issue. I understand that it's controversial to say the bank should fail. You could also have the government, if a bank is truly going to fail, you could have the government step in, split the bank up. They'll bail it out, but they split the bank up. And reinstate Glass-Steagall so they can't have banks merging over state lines. There's things you could do. There's a lot of things you could do to like make a difference longer term. But we haven't done any of those things. We just bailed them out. And then we're like, hey, don't do that again. Doesn't like every economist hate Glass-Steagall? Listen, there's well, first of all, it's just not true. I mean, there's like it's a debated issue, but I would never. I would be wary if there is an issue where you think every economist is in agreement on. There's not really there's nothing in economics where that is the case. From my understanding, from what I'm reading, there's always somebody who disagrees. I'm a huge fan of Glass-Steagall, by the way. Glass-Steagall worked. Is Peter Navarro an economist? No, but Ron Vara is. He's the GOAT economist. Do some economists think inflation is only good then? Yeah, I mean, I'd say more economists than not think a little bit of inflation is good. That's the standard line. 2%, that's what you want, 2%. They have an inflation kink. Yeah, exactly. Is it true this kind of moral hazard framework is still with us? Yes, of course. It happened just a year ago with Silicon Valley Bank, dude. Silicon Valley Bank had a bunch of Silicon Valley types on Twitter screaming, if we don't get bailed out, it's the end of VC as we know it. San Francisco will die. There will be no more Silicon Valley. America will fall behind China. No entrepreneurship. You have to bail us out, please. And it was like the government stepping in to bail out fucking 20 Silicon Valley founders, mega rich already. Not even any regular Americans. Fucking David Sachs, they got bailed out 100%. It's moral hazard, dude. And then, when when a fucking smaller regional bank that serves farmers fails, it'll be like, wow, come on. We need the fucking market to decide. It's annoying to have it applied so inconsistently. I think a bank that does something stupid should fail, and I think we should have a lot of medium-sized to smaller banks so that the risk is distributed. That would be the incredible magic of a system kind of like in the fucking 50s, 60s, 70s. Instead of all the banks merging into one mega conglomerate bank that can make the biggest stupid decisions of all time, and then when it fails, well, we can't let that fail. It's too big. Somebody said Silicon Valley Bank wasn't a bailout. I just want to be clear that the White House at the time avoided using the word bailout. They wouldn't say that. It's not a bailout. We're not stepping in. But the and Bill Ackman, the billionaire hedge fund mogul who got bailed out by it, said it's not a bailout. But yeah, I remember this article. Neil Barofsky, who was in charge of the bailout in 2008, said, yeah, this is a bailout. If your definition is government intervention to prevent private losses, then this is certainly a bailout. The guy in charge of the biggest bailout ever. Yeah, it was a fucking bailout, dude. It was. The FDIC insures you up to $250K. If you have more than $250K and you put it in a failing bank and the government steps in and makes you whole, that's a bailout. Why is 2% the recommended amount for inflation? Is there any reason behind it? The story is really there's not a big reason behind it. Some New Zealand bank picked it on a whim, and then everyone sort of ran with it. That's the honest to God truth of it. There's some like retconning. There's some retconning where everyone goes like, well, this is actually the perfect number for this, because it's become such a standard. But in truth, it's vibes based. It's vibes based, bro. From the beginning. As long as you don't have deflation, I think you're fine. Dude, deflation is overhated sorry, I'm insulting, but I feel like people go through Econ 101 and they learn deflation bad, and then they decide that it's never appropriate at any time ever for prices to ever fall. The reason deflation is bad in real world is usually because of this. Prices falling means wages have to fall, but wages don't fall without riots. You can't go to your workers and be like, we're going to pay you less without serious struggle. But bouts of small deflation actually create stronger labor movements. They create unions because people regularly have to negotiate against their wages lowering. So it creates this strong labor force that is a counterbalance to the private capital. I mean, it's like it creates this three-pronged system with the government, unions, and capital, and it actually works better. Inflation actually neuters labor movements because wages naturally nominally tick up. Anyway, there's many downsides to inflation. I'm being a little disingenuous here, but I think it has become overhated. I think it's become like a pox. We must always inflate. Okay, gross. Anyway, so, okay, I mean, this is actually pretty relevant. This is pretty fucking relevant. This is relevant to what we're talking about right now, which is, listen, speaking of the government printing absurd amounts of money, speaking of the government having no absolute, having no regard for the deficit and no regard for the debt pile it's leaving future generations. For a government that wants to just print to make sure print and borrow to make sure that boomers are happy now. Damn the consequences. There's finally a rift happening in the truest love in American history. That between Elon Musk and Donald Trump. Look at this love, dude. Look at this passion. Just a few months ago, these two were about to kiss. And as of today, the bromance might be doomed. America's sweetheart couple might be finally breaking it off. Remember back in February? I love real Donald Trump as much as a straight man can love another man. Direct quote from Elon Musk. They were hugging. They were at rallies together. They were having a great time. They were going to take on the world, okay? Donald Trump was going to get the economy moving again, and Elon Musk was going to cut spending so that America could afford it. The combination of the tariff revenue and the tax cuts and the Doge cuts were going to get America back on fiscal track. And then, just 4 months into Doge, Elon Musk was basically shown the door. Thank you, but time to go. He was basically sent packing. Now, part of this could have been his own decision, as his own companies were dealing with more and more struggle. Part of this could be disagreements internally. Again, it's worth noting he showed up to this final meeting with a black eye and bruising on his face. He says it's because his kid punched him in the face, but there's reports from Steve Bannon that Elon Musk got in a physical altercation with Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent over the Treasury, over the fucking spending. I mean, there's real theory here that something's going on. That it's black eye and bruising. So anyway, they gave him a golden key and said, come back anytime. But Elon Musk walked away wearing his Doge Father outfit. And that was that. That was that. And Elon Musk was separating from the government back to his own job. But it didn't take long after being shown the door that he started commenting on the government. Specifically on the big, beautiful bill that Trump has been laser focused on pushing, as much as focused as Trump could be. Trump has been pushing to get this massive, massive, massive tax cut and spending cut bill, the big, beautiful bill, through the House and through Congress. And finally, Elon Musk, after hinting at it for a little while and voicing some slight discomfort, finally today out and out said it. Let's get the exact quote. He called the bill, I just want to be clear, I want to get the words right. He called the bill a disgusting abomination. Specifically, I'm sorry, but I can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it. And I responded somewhere with a handshake emoji because I agree. You know, Elon Musk, it took you a long fucking time to say anything. This is the bill you were supporting 1 week ago, but he did finally say it. This bill is horrendous. This bill massively blows out our already massively blown out deficit. It leaves us, anyone young and anyone in the future, with even more problems and even less money to go around for the government. We're going to have more and more interest payments to pay for tax cuts for rich people right now. It's a horrendous bill. And Elon Musk has done a lot of damage providing cloud cover for the bill and supporting the bill. But now that he's out, I guess he's willing to say it, which I respect, because as someone who has pissed off like all of the left side of America, he is now risking pissing off all the right side of America and being left with, I guess I respect the ability to say it. But for this particularly, especially because Trump has been so supportive of it, it is a pretty big line to draw from Elon's side. A pretty big rift. Now, he'll say, and I think everyone that has criticized this bill will say, that even though Trump is nonstop supporting it, that it's not Trump's fault. Trump doesn't know the bad stuff in the bill. Everyone will say that Trump doesn't know what he's doing, but we have to stop it. And in fact, it's the evil rhinos in Congress that are writing it, and they want to let him off the hook. But he continued. So Elon Musk continued. It was like, Congress is making America bankrupt, and it will massively increase the already gigantic budget deficit at $2.5 trillion and burden American citizens with crushingly unsustainable debt. And I'm sorry, this is just true. This is just true. Dude, as I've mentioned, I read a lot of Substacks from, and at least probably over half of them are from like Wall Street finance Republicans. Or like not even Wall Street, but like people who are like investors, or they know this shit. They're in and out this shit, and they were like supportive of some kind of changing agenda. They at least had some ideological, not ideological reason for giving Trump a chance. But all of them, almost all of them, have slowly but surely been like, had to admit all these economic decisions are terrible. Like all of them. Dude, it's so funny. Like one by one, they've all written some sort of op-ed being like, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't add up. And this bill has been a real unifier for at least that crowd of like, no, there's just like one guy specifically stuck out to me where he basically said, I thought they would be able to get a handle on the spending. It turns out they're going to go full steam ahead until they hit the wall. Until nobody in the world will buy American debt anymore. They're gonna fucking spin off the rails. And that is what it's looking like. So Elon Musk is calling this out. Worth mentioning, James Chanos, one of those guys, I don't know if he's Republican, but he's a longtime finance guy, well-read thinker, pointed out this is the same bill when he was praising it last week. Very worth noting that Elon Musk has only started talking about this after he was kicked out. One of those people, I wanted to show some clips here. Because while Elon Musk has not, and by the way, they're forcing this through with 0 Democratic votes, is my understanding. So they need most Republicans, almost every Republican, to vote for it. And there's a few holdouts. One of them is Rand Paul, who is like the most vocal and fiscally conservative against this from the beginning, well before Elon spoke out.
This vote.
Senator, what do you need to see in this bill to be on board?
The problem is it's asking conservatives like myself to raise the debt ceiling $5 trillion. That's historic. No one's ever raised the debt ceiling that much. It will be a record for Congress to raise the debt $5 trillion. But also it indicates that this year the deficit will be over $2 trillion, but it means they're anticipating close to $3 trillion for the next year. It's really a slap in the face at those of us who are excited about Elon Musk and Doge and all the cuts. Where are the cuts? If the cuts are real, why are we going to borrow $5 trillion? So what I proposed was this. I put forward a proposal, and we voted on it, to raise the debt ceiling for 3 months. Why? Because I think we should vote on the debt ceiling every 3 or 4 months to see if they're doing their job. If they promise us cuts in spending, not just the administration, I'm talking about congressional leaders as well. If the promises are real, I'll vote to raise it every 3 months. So I put forward that amendment. Unfortunately, I only got a handful of votes, but I think that's the way to do it. If you raise it $5 trillion for 2 years, you just put it on the back burner, but we're going to coast through that money and we're going to spend it all. And that's not what the people want. That's not what our supporters want.
All right.
Yeah, so I don't like the 3-month debt ceiling bill. It's going to be insane chaos that gets nothing done for in our already fucking stymied system. But I do agree that a $5 trillion raise, the most massive raise we've ever had, to support primarily wealthy tax cuts is insane. It's just insane. It's just not what we need to be doing when we are already spending such a huge chunk of every dollar we raise on interest on our previous debt. He spoke out against it, and then also Ron Johnson spoke out against it. I want to show his clip as well.
Thanks for having me on. Of course. So you had this op-ed out in the Wall Street Journal. We see the headline there, The Ugly Truth about the big, beautiful bill. What's beautiful, Senator, as you see it, and what makes you cover your eyes?
Well, this is my third column in a series of 3, where I've been pointing out since the first of the year that we need to return to a reasonable pre-pandemic level spending. And I laid out the options. I think this was an extraordinary event, the pandemic. We went from $4.4 trillion in spending to $7 trillion this year. That's a 58% increase. There's no justification for that. So we have to return to a reasonable pre-pandemic level. I've laid out options somewhere between 5.5 and at most $6.5 trillion, which would imply a whole lot more savings than the meager 1.5 trillion over 10 years, 150 billion at most. By the way, and then we're increasing spending by $342 billion over 4 years. So again, the savings we're talking about in relationship to the $89 trillion we'll be spending over the next 10 years, it's barely a rounding error.
I heard you just describe it as
minimum,
meager.
It is meager, but at a minimum, we shouldn't be increasing the deficit. And I don't see any scenario that they're discussing right now where we don't actually increase the deficit over 10 years.
Anyway, I appreciate both. I just want to say I appreciate both these people saying this because it is at least not lying to my face. It is really annoying as I've been watching these clips to have someone like Speaker of the House Mike Johnson come out on stage or come out on a clip and just tell me this doesn't increase the deficit. just tell me that it does. Like you can just read it. We just know that it does do that. And by the way, as someone who was critical of this during Biden's administration, when again we were spending $1 trillion of deficit every 100 days in 2024 into the election, an insane. We are now spending more than that. Trump has taken that insane 24 deficit and gone up. we're just going towards the wall. And so I appreciate at least these two voices on the Republican side who are getting a lot of pressure from Trump and their constituents to silence themselves, speaking out and saying this makes no sense for what we ran on, for any sort of like fiscal conservatism. So that's led to this. Pull this up. That led to this, which was a tweet from fucking Donald J. Trump saying Rand Paul has very little understanding of the big beautiful bill, especially the tremendous growth that is coming. He loves voting no on everything. He thinks it's good politics, but it's not. The BBB is a big winner. He hasn't responded to Elon yet, I think. Has Trump said anything about Elon? "14 hours ago, Trump said," here, I'll put this here. Again, Rand votes no on everything, but never has any practical conservative ideas. His ideas are crazy, losers. The people of Kentucky can't stand him. This is a big growth bill. But he hasn't commented on Ron Johnson or Elon, both standing up against saying this bill is a fucking extremely damaging. And this does mean that there's going to be a rift, I think, in the sort of MAGA right and tech right handshake alliance that existed primarily through Elon Musk being the bridge. I wonder what like the All In podcast is going to say now that their two greatest heroes, Trump and Elon, disagree. I wonder how they're going to fucking handle this big, beautiful bill. The girls are indeed fighting. I don't know, but it is an interesting update. And I just can't stress enough how much I think this bill sucks ass. It, very, very simply, it is like massive tax cuts. Half of that is funded by cutting Medicare. Medicaid for poor people. And then the other half is just not funded. That's the deficit. It's this much savings through cutting healthcare and then huge more spending from cutting taxes. And the difference is we borrow it. Mm, It's easy to hate the rich, but do you have the courage to hate the poor? Wow. Fire. Wait, where is this? Holy fuck. That is fucking fire. The answer is yes. Every chatter or commenter I've ever crashed out on. The answer is yes. I've hated many poor people. Many. And that's bravery. That's bravery. Imagine saving the government $100 billion for them to increase spending by $5 trillion. Yeah, I mean that $100 billion is even exaggerated, but you know, it's very obvious. I don't know if Elon wasn't aware of this. It seems obvious that he would be, but maybe he's that clueless that the Doge thing was a song and dance show to give cloud cover to do these massive tax cuts and spending increases. Doge was not ever taken seriously. It was not real, and they weren't ever going to actually cut anything real. And so all they did was cut some ideological stuff for chump change and made no real impact on actual spending. And again, it was only supposed to last a year, and it only lasted 4 months. They cut both the leaders by the first 4 months. It's a failure on every front. It was definitely a play. They got played. And at least Elon is stepping up. Because, a few days ago he said, I think this is the clip.
It's not like I agree with everything the administration did.
This is what he says a few days ago. I don't know why that's stupid music in the background, but deal with it.
It's not like I agree with everything the administration does. So it's like I agree with much of what the administration does, but we have differences of opinion. I don't want to, speak up against the administration, but I don't want to, or also don't want to take responsibility for everything the administration is doing. It's not like.
What a change of heart, dude. What a change of heart from just a few months ago. So I thought this was going to do. I thought this was his position. I thought he was going to be like kind of slinking off into the sunset and like licking his wounds and going back to the companies and not talking shit on anything. But after this, I guess he changed his mind, had some ketamine, woke the fuck up and spoke out and said, yeah, this bill fucking sucks. So at least respect that, because I thought he was going to do this. I thought this was going to be his. This is only like a day or two before. And we'll see what the long-term repercussions are. I wonder how Trump will respond when asked about it by tomorrow. But I'm just hoping, my greatest hope is that somehow this Elon thing breaks the support for the bill and it doesn't make it through the Senate and it gets stopped. That would be awesome. This bill passing is going to be such a disaster. It would be awesome if this gets enough Republicans to break off and not vote for it. Do you think court ruling on tariffs will have any impact on the BBB? Nope, not at all. Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. It is a bad bill, I'll tell you that. What do you think Scott Bessent's stance on the big beautiful bill, though? Listen, how do I put this? Almost everybody who worked with Scott Bessent prior to him joining the Trump administration says really good things about him. He's a very smart guy. I've listened to his speeches before he was part of this administration. Very smart guy. Clearly articulated why we have to get spending under control. Clearly articulated paths that America could do that. In the administration, he has really just repeated what Trump says verbatim. Now, I don't know if that's what you have to do to get any influence in there, but it's hard to know what he's thinking. It's hard to know because all he does is trot out on TV and say exactly what the party line is. Now, my understanding is that he, behind the scenes, has done some things to walk back the tariffs, has done some things to reduce some of the most insane chaos, has done some things to try and calm the bond market so that we don't have a fucking banking crisis. But, but he also might have punched Elon in the face, which is pretty cool. But I really can't give a thumbs up or thumbs down to Scott Bessent so far until something happens. And right now, you know, again, I'm thinking of one of these finance substacks I was reading, but he was like, listen, I've worked with Scott Bessent. He's a smart guy, but right now it looks like he's driving the country towards a cliff. And Scott Bessent, again, is one of the people that'll walk out and be like, well, this bill is going to reduce the deficit. And it's like, it's just not. It's just not. Wasn't it better with the two options? Yes, that's, yeah. I don't, I mean, not like it mattered. It wasn't like Trump was listening to my fucking stream. But I like campaigned a bit for Scott Bessent because the other option was Howard fucking Lutnick, who is a used car salesman level of grift and stupid. Howard Lutnick is a fucking rancid disaster person who would have had no pushback on the tariffs. I mean, yeah, he's terrible. Yeah, if it's that two options, then I'm never mad about it. But I would prefer more spine from Scott Bessent if he really doesn't believe what's going on. But maybe you can't have a spine in this administration. Maybe if you have too much of a spine, you get kicked out. I don't know. How can your message of reducing spending be marketable for political normies? How would you convince people that reducing spending is the biggest light items is the good thing when going to specifics? Yeah, I've been thinking about this. This is my main argument. Let me see if I can make it real simple. This is my main argument. Okay? Okay. So we know that the main things that the government spends money on are Medicare, Medicaid, basically healthcare for old people and poor people, Social Security, which is money for old people, security, military, okay, which is pew pew guns, interest payments, and one more thing.
With this big
One more thing. Sorry, one more thing. And subscriptions. Subscriptions make up 85% of the government budget. That's why we need Rocket Money. Thank you to Rocket Money for sponsoring this clip. Rocket Money is an app that you link your bank account to, and it shows you every recurring subscription that you have that's being siphoned out of your account. Whether it's a gym you signed up for that you forgot to go to, whether it's a news website you signed up for, whether it's a Netflix or Hulu or anything. Any subscription where it's recurring, taking money out of your account, it flags it for you, it shows you, and you can easily one-click cancel it right from the app. Rocket Money's been a long-time partner of me, Marketing Monday, my content. I appreciate the support. It's an app I've actually used for years since it was called Truebill. It also has an incredible budget management feature where you can set aside money to plan for something upcoming you want to spend. It categorizes your spending. It's basically the best all-in-one finance app, especially for people in a modern digital economy, millennials, Gen Z. Like it's useful. And I highly recommend it. I want to thank Rocket Money for sponsoring this clip. And if the American government just opened Rocket Money and cut some of our useless spending, we could get towards balance. Now, the actual answer to your question is this. The actual answer to your question is this. Wait, did it shut down my beautiful paint drawing? Yeah, here it is. Okay. The actual answer to your question is this. Of these four, you can't do anything about this one. And cutting Medicaid especially is pretty cruel in any way. Medicaid is poor people. So here's what you can do. One thing you might know, actually, fuck it, Social Security, won't even cut that. Let's look at these two specifically, Medicare and military. Now, what's unique about these is that they take government tax money and then go through very, 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 very price gouging middlemen. Medicare goes to drug companies. And military goes through like military contractors. Let's say contractors. And these companies have an incentive. Contractors, sorry. These companies have an incentive to overcharge as much as humanly possible, to milk us dry. Not in the good way. So you have, like, for example, like a Northrop Grumman, or you have a Pfizer in the middle here who is, just charging absurd amounts overpriced. Again, Americans pay more for prescription drugs, significantly more than every other nation on earth. And we do the same with military contractors. So finding a way to increase the government's negotiating power, like, for example, in Medicare, we're legally not allowed to negotiate. We should be allowed to negotiate to drive the prices down. Or internal capabilities in the case of the military. Sorry, I'm dying. Would be a way to massively cut the amount we are spending here to get even the same results, but for way, way, way less money. So these are the two areas I'd focus on first and foremost. I think this would be the primary areas. If I was trying to do like a Doge type thing, and this is a big thorny problem and you're fighting entrenched interests, but this is what you have to tackle. To make any real difference, I would look at these two primarily. Then I think it's worth saying that Social Security right now is only delivered on the basis of age. So Social Security goes to old people regardless of their financial situation. The truth is, Social Security should probably only go to those who are under a certain income. It should be means tested. The idea is that it's a safety net retirement program for old people. If you are a wealthy old person, you should not be getting Social Security benefits. I'm sorry, but it doesn't make sense. We already have a lot of wealth concentrated in the elderly in America. And the fact that a lot of us are paying taxes to distribute even more to the elderly is crazy. Now, obviously, if someone is poor and elderly, then of course, Social Security should not be cut for them. Additionally, very easy thing you can do, if you're looking only to balance the budget, not to cut spending, is you can raise the Social Security cap, which says that you don't get taxed on it for above 50K of income, which means that somebody very wealthy pays the same amount in Social Security that someone very poor does. Or someone middle income, I guess, would say. Someone like Jeff Bezos or Elon should be paying more in Social Security, obviously. That's a pretty easy thing that you could do to help fund it. But even still, like, I think Social Security benefits for someone who already has enough money to retire is useful. The government should not be supporting it. We don't need to give them any money. Now, it's politically unpalatable. It's like impossible to get passed because they vote in great numbers. But that would be the ideal if you're trying to get towards balance. Try to find what should we actually be spending money on that is worthwhile and useful. Does it Medicaid also go through drum companies? Yes. Listen, the way I circle this is not really helpful. I was just trying to say that Medicaid is poor people. So you wouldn't want to cut any of that. And I really don't want to cut either of them. Actually, I want to expand it. But you want to make it so it's like efficient. And we have a lot of room to do that. When it comes to healthcare, it's not like we're not spending the money. America spends more than any other country. We spend more money per capita on healthcare for worse outcomes. So it's not like the money's not there. It's not like we're like, well, at least we're saving money. We actually need to, like, if we spent that money with the market force we have, if the government was allowed to negotiate, if they're allowed to say, hey, if you don't want to sell it to us for cheap, then we'll walk. We'll go somewhere else. We have 100 million people in our system. You'll lose. The drug companies have changed the law so they can't do that. It's fucking ridiculous. So you could literally save untold billions of dollars from these budgets and get the same quality of care without just bloating these companies or these companies. Again, with the military, we really look at it as efficiency. Throwing more money at, we love in America to have the biggest number for our military budget. And we don't want to question whether or not that's being spent efficiently at all. I mean, in a world where Ukraine is outmaneuvering Russia on 1/100th of the budget, it's worth thinking, like, who are the smartest minds? What are the smartest things we can spend our dollars on? Who's actually innovating? Instead, we're like, well, how can we spend even more money on another aircraft carrier we don't need, or another, you know what I'm saying? We're just, and they can charge us whatever we want because there's no competitive process. So that's where I'm at. I think all of this combined, plus my good friends at Rocket Money, thank you again to Rocket Money for their longtime support. Rocket Money could save the government's budget, guaranteed. Those things combined, I think, could be a real plan towards balance. And just to be clear, the big, beautiful bill does none of this. No fixes to any of it. None of this. That is the only thing it does is it makes Medicaid, which is for poor people, have work requirements for some percentage of the population, which cuts their access. So if you are poor and aren't working, you can't get the health care. That's the big change it does, and that saves some amount of money. I mean, it's not insignificant, but not nearly as much as the tax cuts lose. Oh, my computer's kind of lagging. And then finally, it's worth noting that I am now officially a television news pundit. Because they put my ass on MSNBC today. I got texted about this by like fucking 14 people. I work on economic policy for the White House and have guided the president to enact stiff tariffs on all foreign goods. Is this a good idea? Yes, it's absolutely brilliant. That's it. They just threw in a big A clip about me talking about ChatGPT glazing. On MSNBC, this happened today. It's fucking awesome. It says youtube.com/Atrioc clips. Anyway, my lawyers will be in touch. They stole my fucking shit. Me and Adish don't appreciate getting our content stolen without compensation. I demand $1 million in reparations. Did you get money for it? Did they clear it? No to both. No, they didn't ask me or email me or do anything. Not that I care. Fucking use as many clips as I want. This is an endless permission. Fox News, MSNBC, CNN, you can use as many big A clips as you want. This is a lifetime permission. I want to see Bill O'Reilly react to Paper Mario Day. I want to see Tucker Carlson watch a Reddit recap. Okay? I want to get this message far and wide on the mainstream media. Chat was on the TV. By the way, you guys were on the TV. Worth noting, they didn't censor the chat. Someone sent me a screenshot of someone saying fucking, which means they violated FCC guidelines. I don't know where. I don't see it, but someone said fucking. Maybe not. I don't see it. Oh, that's fucked right here. Oh my God. Is that Bobby Wellington? Bobby Wellington. You said that's fucked on TV. Jesus Christ, dude. You should be arrested. FCC does not allow that. You can't be saying F swears on mainstream cable news. Bobby, I'm not going to ban you, but you will be serving 20 years in jail. 07. So 07 for Bobby. We won't see him again. But when you break out, the chat will be here for you. All right. Anyway, that's what I wanted to cover. Actually, is there more news I wanted to cover? Any newsers? That was the main thing, honestly. The big thing of today was like, I didn't predict that Elon would flip sides on Trump's most important bill, right, that he's been talking about nonstop. It's an official like split. There was something I really wanted to mention, but I forgot what it was. It was funny. Oh, it was Linda McMahon, our favorite A1 Secretary of Education. A1 Linda McMahon is back. She testified today on Capitol Hill, on C-SPAN, and I think a Republican senator was asking her glazing questions and talking about how the education department has wasted $1.2 billion a year for over 10 years. And then they were like, that's over $1 trillion. And then the next guy up started quizzing her about that.
Madam Secretary. And I'm not a great mathematician, but I think you were talking about $1 trillion. I believe 1.5 billion times 10 is $15 billion. That's a little bit off from $1 trillion. But
I think the budget cuts 1.2 billion for Trio.
well, 1.2, that would be $12 billion, not $1 trillion.
Okay.
Fine.
Okay. Agree to disagree. Our Secretary of Motherfucking Education. Dude, something about her makes me lose it more than anyone else. I don't know, dude. I don't know. Something about having someone in WrestleMania just proudly and ignorantly talk when you're supposed to be in charge of our country's education is like, it's like, dude, how can anyone support this? How can you have her up there doing the math wrong? The simple math wrong. It's just so ignorant, bro. It's just so, I don't know. And just to be cocky and rich and stupid, and to be in charge of our education system. I think it's because education is also really important to me. I think it's like becoming an issue I care more and more about. Maybe I'm just getting our teachers radicalized. Maybe it's this chat that's making me realize how brain rotted you all are. But I'm just realizing that, like, if we can't get people to even consider the idea of learning, then we'll never fix any problem. That's the step one. We really have to get education back on track to have a long-term future. We can't fix the problems if no one can understand the problems. And it is deeply unnerving to have this woman saying what she says. And I already crashed out about the AI stuff, but this was also pretty stupid and just capped it off for me. Oh, another thing, I don't have the clip in front of me. If you want to find it, maybe Ada should make a clip about this. You could add it, but I'll describe the clip to you. One of the senators asks Linda McMahon, Miss McMahon, do you know what rank America was in 1979 in education and math? And she goes, we were very low on the totem pole. And he goes, we were ranked number 1. We were number 1 in reading and number 1 in math. And she goes, oh, 1979, you said? I'm not even kidding. She goes, oh, 79? Yeah. 79? Yeah. Fucking shut up. Shut the fuck up, dude. She's just making it up. She's like a bad hallucinating AI. She just makes it up as she goes along. Oh, 1979, you said. Anyway, he goes on with more questions. He was asking, he's like, hey, we used to be a really highly ranked country. Now we're a really low ranked country. What do you think happened? And of course, she would have no explanation. Anyway, disastrous. But maybe she's the GOAT, though. Counterpoint, maybe she's the GOAT. Just want to put that out there. Maybe she's the greatest education secretary of all time. Jury's not out. Listen, sometimes you're watching WrestleMania 7 and you don't know who's going to win. And you think maybe it's like The Undertaker or The Rock. And then Vince McMahon's wife comes in and chair slams somebody. And this really happened. It's a real thing that happened. And, the story can change. So maybe this is like that. Maybe it's like Linda's going to come in with a steel chair. She can wrestle, no argument, but she can't educate. Listen, buddy, no argument from me. Linda McMahon's one of the GOATs of wrestling. Okay? She's up there with the greats. It's The Rock, it's The Undertaker, it's Linda. You'll never catch me saying a bad word about her in the ring. But in terms of education, she needs some work. She actually can't wrestle. Have you seen her take the Stone Cold Stunner? Linda McMahon, Stone Cold Stunner.
Linda McMahon.
You've got a beer bag. Exactly, woman.
And I forgot to say, thank you.
Okay, wait. Can somebody make me a version of this with the American flag right here? Like over his face, the American flag. And I can quote, tweet, reply this to her stupid quote today. Can someone make me that? I would love to reply to her quote with this of just us fucking Stone Cold Stunnering Linda McMahon. Do it yourself? I can't edit video, bro. I can edit in Photoshop, but I can't edit video. I don't have that arcane knowledge. That's why my editors get to milk me dry, dude. Because they know I can't. They're like Arrakis, and I can't get the spice. Use one of your paid editors. They don't like to work. They just want the pay. You think Quack's ever edited a video? He just wants to fucking cash the checks, bro. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. What else did I want to say? Was there any, maybe Fummy's got something in the old daily debrief. Was there anything else I wanted to discuss other than I wanted to talk about Korea and Poland's elections, but honestly, I'd like to read more. You know, I read the results in the FT and I got a little primer, but I'd like to maybe talk to somebody from the country or figure it out. But yeah, I don't think I would want to go over them now. And then what else? I saw an article that Poland's birth rate is apocalyptically low. I'm talking about birth rates on the pod pretty soon. I think we're doing a deeper dive on birth rates and like the American plan to do the $5,000 child bonus. Like if you have a child, I thought about what else did I want to talk about? Oh, dude, Pete Hegseth was talking about China gearing up for Taiwan, and when he was in Singapore, I did want to talk about that. I did want to talk about that. I kind of want to make some slides though. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm actually not live. Yo, actually I'm not live tomorrow. My friend says maybe Linda got concussion from WWE, so she can't do math. Okay, well, all respect to her then. You know, no shame, but maybe she shouldn't be Secretary of Education. Such an easy own to talk about 3 finance white dudes talking about birth rates on a podcast. Why we got to be white in that example? If we were 3 black dudes, we could talk about birth rates. What does that mean? Is it just because we're dudes, or is it because we're white, or what does that mean? It's the whole package. All right. It's a combo bar that fills up. So we're ready to ult. Me, Doug, and Aiden are ready to ult. We are a full combo bar. Weren't you Hispanic last week? I'm always Hispanic. La Raza, brother. Bro isn't even trying to get pregnant. First of all, just because I've never had sex doesn't mean I'm not trying to get pregnant with my wife, okay? We're building up to it. Playing the long game. Yeah. It's called Foreplay Liberals. Anyway, yeah, what else today? That's it. I think we're good. We could talk about I'm just trying to think of anything like that I wanted to hit that was break. I've already got a clip for today. I'm not even farming, bro. I actually want to talk about stuff. I thought I had more. I read so much stuff today that I was like, this will be fun to talk about. But then when I go live, I can just think about fucking Elon Musk crashing out on Trump. Dutch government. Okay, all I'll say is this about the Dutch government. How do I put this? When a European parliamentary democracy says that the government collapsed, as an American, you think, whoa, that's fucking exciting. There must be riots in the streets. There must be some fucking... But the Dutch government collapsing, it just means their fucking coalition doesn't have a majority anymore. And they have, it's like, it's not a big deal. They're just going to have new elections. And, they always make the headlines sound so fucking badass. Like it's the end times. The government collapsed. But, it's not really. It has implications. For Prime Minister Dick Schoof. That's his real name. He looks like this. Dude. This is Dick Schoof. What? His government collapsed, and he's Dutch. But like this happened in Germany before their elections. Like it's not deeply uncommon. Dutchies ringing their bike bells in anger. His dick be shoofing. Yeah, I mean, I would say this has been something I've commented on in general, which is, it's happening in America too, but it's also happening in parliamentary democracies, and it's happening all over, which is a sense of gridlock, a sense that nothing substantial can get passed or moved on. So governments are grinding to a halt, which is causing more unrest. It's causing more this bubbling anger and populism and, you could say radical. People are just getting more and more upset because things aren't moving fast enough. Things aren't adapting fast enough. it increases the likelihood of like authoritarianism because democracy is not solving the problems. I feel like people are always saying things are getting worse though, what things are getting better. We're working on it. We're doing I think next week maybe we're gonna do a oops all good news lemonade stand. We're all bringing stories that we researched about things that are unequivocally good in the world, things that are getting better, things that are cool stories. We're doing that. We're doing that next Wednesday. I'm excited for it. No, it won't be a short app. There's a lot of good stuff, obviously, but I am of the opinion that post-COVID is a time of disruption and change, which is mostly bad. And it will lead to good times later, but it's going to be bad. I think it's bad and probably getting worse. I'm just being honest about what I think. In the short term, I think a lot of systems are straining against the changed world around them. A lot of things we built are like set up for a different time with different technology and different people. And now that all those things have changed, they're being strained against and they're cracking. Would you rather be alive now or 50 years ago? Things are better. Well, I always answer that question. I always say on the podcast, I say, every 100 years, life is clearly better. Like things are better than they were 100 years ago than they were 100 years ago. However, your example is so specific. As a white dude in America, the 1960s and 70s were like incredible. They were like incredible. It's like I could just fail upwards for 40 years. With my level of skill, I would have a almost guaranteed good life. I could go to any industry or any field and I could get a house easy. I could get endless lowering interest rates. So my house and my stocks and my assets will all appreciate with a tailwind for my entire life. So you picked a very specific example where like I probably would have a greater quality of life, like legitimately in 75. But I overall agree with your thesis that things get better over time for sure. But the way I described it, this again, I keep saying the podcast, but like the way I always describe it is that society is an up and to the right sine curve, which means it looks like this. So like you can have local minimums. You can have local minimums, but you're obviously trending upwards. Did you just correct minimums into minima? I'm going to time you out for being that pedantic. Fuck you. Fuck you, Curry Hole. You fucking... absolute minima. Yeah, anyway, that's what I'm saying. So, you could argue that things are, quote, getting worse, but overall getting better. Do you see what I'm saying? Bum ba-dum bum. Bum ba-dum bum. Bum ba-dum bum. Da 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 What about the Dark Ages or the Bronze Age collapse? Things can trend down for hundreds of years now. It may seem optimistic to me. I think we're getting in the weeds here. I don't think the gaps on the curve are meant to be exactly equidistant 40-year gaps or whatever. I think it's more of like there's downs and then there's ups and there's downs and there's ups and there's downs and there's ups, but it's trending upwards. I think you're getting in the weeds on the specific length. I also would say, like, I know they're called the Dark Ages, but my understanding, a little bit of reading, is that there was still massive technological innovations and certain groups, not the majority, but certain groups had fucking prosperity in those times. Again, it's different. Dark Ages is Europe primarily, right? Versus, it's very Eurocentric view. How are the Dark Ages for me? Low key, I was so blazed for all of it, I barely remember it. I'm keeping it no cap with you. The Dark Ages for me were the fucking high ages. That was my weed phase, to be honest. That's when I really got into weeds. There was the dank ages. That's a way better one. I call them the dank ages, dude, because I was toasty off that herb. No, I lost a few centuries there, easy. For real. And I was kicking it with the surfs, yeah. Surfs are fun, man. Or at the monastery. Speaking of the Dark Ages, how about I play one game of Age of Empires and then quite possibly, watch an X-Files? How about that? That sounds like a pretty good fucking night. One game of Age of Empires and then watch an X-Files. Do I have time? Yeah. Yeah, I got time. Viking here, then one ep of X-Files. PogChamp. And to make it more based, I got a Viking chant.